You get a trade rumor. You get a trade rumor. Everybody gets a trade rumor. And everyone on the Islanders are up for grabs, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fun episode here of Isles Talk, where everyone but Matt Barzell and Noah Dobson are probably traded by now, depending on your fantasy league, or if you're in the NHL, you want everyone to completely bust up this team. It's all here. It's already got started. We are a month away from it. Welcome everyone to Isles Talk. We will get into some of those rumors, but first, I would like to introduce a very close friend of mine. He has been. We can talk Islanders. We can talk hockey for hours. He's another one of those uh, great people that I have come to know for quite some time. Uh, his family are, they are the best. He has played hockey. He knows his stuff here, which is why I'm bringing him on. Uh, Hopefully more than once, depending on how this night goes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Joe Panettiere to the show. Joe, welcome. Thanks for finally coming on, and hopefully you come back.
Well, let's see how this goes. Well, thanks for having me. And I never knew I had another brother. I mean,
That's
you're
true.
a son. To my mother, you're like the number one son now. So, I take backseat when Paul's over.
Ticks him off. I love it. Really does tick him off. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is trade rumor time. The Islanders are out of the playoffs as far as I'm concerned. Joe, give me your quick thoughts. Are the Islanders out? What do you think?
It's bleak, very
Okay.
bleak. And I think within the next week or two, you're going to see possibly changes in the lineup. Maybe giving the kids a chance. And once they do that, Lou and Trotz are, conceding the season without saying it.
Yeah. So, and one of those moments actually comes with Sebastian Aho now getting 3 straight games in, racking up 2 points in 3 games, and Andy Green has been sitting that entire time. So it's the start of things to come. We'll get into the trade rumors in a little bit, but this goes back to what we were going to bring up before with the trade rumors, the Islanders being out, and it's part of the next segment of the show here. Joe, is the Isles window actually closed for a Stanley Cup run? Because they've had 2 really good years, and you and I have talked off air long before Isles Talk was even going to be this popular. What's the window for the Islanders? How long?
Well, we had a conversation a couple of seasons ago, which would make this the 3rd season, and we agreed the Islanders, with the core group that they have now with Lee, Bailey, and so on, they had about a 4-year window to win a Stanley Cup with that core group. And then going forward, you bring in the young kids, and that takes you another 6 or 7 years down the road. I believe we said the Islanders had about 10 good years to be a contender with what they had on the farm and what they had with the current team. I think they could get, with this core group, another good year. I would say that the way this year went with COVID and the arena and the 13-game road trip, it just wasn't in the stars. I believe the prior 2 seasons, that's our team. The team we see tonight, or playing now, that's not our team. I would just write this season off as a fluke. They know how to win. They've proven that. But I just think that you keep the core group together one more year. You give them the shot with the young goalie in the net and the young defenseman being seasoned with the team. And you see where it goes for next year. I say you give them one more year, one more season.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And for those who have been following, I'm going to have to write it up again, but for those who have been following Isles Talk writing wise, it's been a while since I've done it. I wrote up a piece basically breaking down the core players from, it's kind of like each generation. I give it like every 3 years or so, you come up with a right winger, a
Right.
centerman, and a defenseman. And it's what the dynasty teams had. They had their own little generations of core players. And the core players that the Islanders currently have, they're still good for maybe one more year. 2 is a bit of a stretch. But when the Islanders drafted Atu Ratu, it basically gave the up and coming core of Dobson and Wallstrom a centerman that you could build the Islanders around with. So Joe and I talked about that a few seasons ago, where the Islanders were definitely going to be good for 4 years. Could they stretch it to 5? It's a tough call, but if you bring in Atu Ratu with the proper development, he's the type of player who can keep the Islander core going along with the older guys. So, do the Islanders have to necessarily blow up this team? No, they don't.
No.
No.
No, I agree. I agree with you with that. I mean, it's more like a refit. Players come available. One name that's been out there was Tarasenko. You bring somebody in like him. It would be more like a refit, but now you're getting, if you're going to stretch it to a fifth year, in our terms, we said 4. If you're going to go to a fifth, now you're taking value away from those players that you could move and get something for, because now they're all a year or 2 older, and their values on the decline. But
Right.
I'd say, I don't know. Knowing Lou, I don't think he stretches it. I think he gives them one more year, and that's it. And then he goes with the kids. You gotta give them a shot.
You got to go. Yeah, you have to go with the
You got
kids
it.
at some point.
You
So,
have to.
good segue. This is a good segue into Lou here. What do you think about Trotz and Lou? How long will we stuck it out? And I'm going to go into that next section here. Should Lou step away from the GM chair? No, I don't think he should, because he was already prepping for next season to begin with. The Islanders currently have just under 14 million in cap space.
Right.
He knew this was going to be a tough season. He was working with what he had. There were cap constraints, whether fans want to believe that or not. COVID had a massive effect on the NHL and the cap, and that's the reason why players like Nick Leddy and Devon Toews had to go. It was simple cap casualty. Folks, if
Right.
we didn't have COVID, the NHL salary cap is right around $94 million. $94 million. That's keeping Nick Leddy. That's keeping Devon Toews. That's keeping everybody happy. So
Yes.
we're in a situation here where Lou couldn't predict COVID, and cap constraints
still can.
happen. There's really
still
nothing
can.
you can do.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it is. So, give me your thoughts on Lou and Trotz. Should Trotz come back for another season? Do you think he's going to get extended? And we'll get into Lou in a minute. But what are your thoughts on Trotz?
Trotz, I think he's going to get extended. The team has played a lot of grueling hockey over the last 3 seasons. Okay, we went deep into the playoffs. We played that physical shutdown style, and it's tiring. So everybody's saying COVID and the road trip, but look, players get tired. They get beat up. Palmieri, he was playing hurt, but as far as Trotz, I say he writes his own ticket. In my eyes, you got to keep him. You got to keep him. I mean, the guy's a winner, and he knows how to get the best out of his players, and he plays his system, and they buy into it. And the last 2 or 3 seasons proved it. I say he stays.
And this is a perfect question from Thomas. Hi, Paul and Joe. When do you see Lou retiring? Whenever Lou wants to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Let's let's get that out of the way, folks. We'll bring this back up here. Lou gets to do whatever Lou wants. If anyone fires Lou Lamoriello, it's going to be Scott Malkin. It's
And he's
not
nowhere to
going to
be
be
seen.
John.
Where is he?
It's not going to be John Ledecky, folks.
No,
Let's
it's not.
get that out of the way. Scott Malkin brought
Definitely
Lou
not.
Lamoriello in. Scott
Mhm.
Malkin is going to be the one taking Lou Lamoriello out. And
Yes.
this, like we said, the arena was late. Okay. No matter how you want to dice it up, no matter how much of a bow you want to put on it, okay, UBS Arena was late in getting done
Oh yeah.
on time. Okay. None of that is on Lou Lamoriello. You can't have COVID. You can't blame Lou for COVID. You can't blame Lou for the construction of UBS Arena.
Mm-mm.
Scott Malkin will determine when Lou Lamoriello is done. Otherwise, Lou's not going anywhere.
No.
Lou's probably not going to go just take the director of hockey operations. He's not. He's a general manager. He's always been a general manager, and that's all he's ever going to be. So this is Lou's team. This is Barry's team. So
He's going to be hands-on. He's not going to give that up. He's not
No.
going to give that up.
No.
No way.
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, absolutely not is right. So that's what's going to happen here. So okay, so let's go a couple of weeks down. Lou is still the GM. Barry Trotz is still the coach.
Right.
We're moving a couple of weeks away. Let's call it March 14th. Let's have some fun here. 3 weeks away.
Okay.
About 2 weeks away from the trade deadline. And you start trading away. Oh, nope. Wrong one. You start trading away some of the players if they all go. When should the kids be playing full time? Should it be earlier?
I would give it 2 more weeks. That's going to call your season. You're either going to be, the percentages are going to be against you, and you bring them in. I mean, sooner or later they're going to have to be seasoned for next season. So they're going to have to see playing time. And what better time is you're out of the playoffs, throw them in there and let them get used to the pace and let them make their mistakes, get it out of the way, and start rounding players off like Bellows and Wahlstrom. Let them get set in there, let them get comfortable.
Now, because there is talk of Semyon Varlamov having interest around the league, no less Vegas, do you bring up Jakub Skarek for a couple of games to see what he can do, and you sit either Varlamov or Sorokin and save them up for next season?
Could it hurt? At this point, could it hurt? No.
Probably not.
And for
those of you,
there's no pressure on the kid. You're not dealing with a goaltender that's injured and you're throwing him into the fire. Okay, you're bringing him up and you're saying, "Hey, we want to see what you have. Get used to the pace. Get used to the shots, and just let him get seasoned. Let him take some rubber." So you can do.
I agree.
It's not going to hurt him.
I agree. Nope, I agree with that. What do we really want to see out of these young players at this point? See, the minutes to me don't matter.
I'll tell you what I want to see. I'll tell you what I want to see. All right. I want to see Wahlstrom not stopping at the top of the circle, waiting for the pass to come to him. I want him to drive to the net. Okay. I want him to play more like Clark Gillies. I want him to play like John Leclerc. I want him to get banged up in front of the net and drive that net. Okay, good. If you're 1-on-2 with the defenseman, split them. Go right through them. That's what I want to see. Same thing with Bellows. He has that move where he cuts to the net. Where is it? How come he's not using it? I mean, everybody's reading what these rookies are doing, especially Wahlstrom. They know the shot's coming. They know where to play him.
And that's the same thing with Bellows. Bellows is a shoot first player, and they just know it's coming.
Right. Drive to the net. Look, show Bellows game film on his dad. I mean, this is what you got to do. You're in the show now. Do what got you here. Drive the net, knock people down, hit people. It's for a guy like Wahlstrom, it's not a hard game to play. Okay, his game is north and south. Just beeline right to the net, and let your winger and your center go for the rebounds off the move you make on net. That's it. It's a simple game. It's not rocket science for this kid. Just let them do what they have to do. Get them out there. Let them play. Let them have fun. To me, right now, it looks like Wahlstrom's not having fun. He reminds me of Dal Cole 2 years ago when they used to put Dal Cole in. He was lost. You knew what he was going to do. You knew he was going to take the puck around down the boards and then curl. You read him like a book, and that's what's happening. These kids are becoming too predictable.
It's true.
So that's what I
see a little more
out of the forwards. That's what I would like to see.
You want to see? Well, yeah, we'll get into the chip and chase. Chip and chase in a minute. The chip and chase will go away when you get one or two puck moving defensemen who can bring it into the zone, and it's Matt Barzal doesn't have to have that struggle of doing 1-on-2, 1-on-3 against defenders and doing a chip and chase. That's going to get fixed later on. Well, but what we're saying is,
you just brought up a good point. By not having a defenseman that can make that first long pass, that nice breakout pass, that's also taking away from a guy like Wahlstrom and a guy like Bellows driving the net, because he's not getting hit with that puck in stride. He has to stop. They got to wait for the center to bring it up or the defenseman to bring it up to the blue line and then dump it in. You got that defenseman that can make that pass. He's going to have a beeline right to the net.
This is a great point. I don't have an issue with these kids shooting. It's great, the way they want to score. The issue is the chip and chase, and then we just pass it around the outside. Joe, give me your feelings on the perimeter game.
It's not our perimeter game that's actually hurting us. It's
right
defending the other teams high. I tell Paul with this, the Islanders, the last 2 seasons have a problem with a team that does a high cycle using the defenseman. Okay. 2 years ago, we were stripping the puck away. We were going in on breakaways or 2-on-1s. That's not happening anymore. We're getting outworked up high, and that's why we're getting stuck in our end. Our perimeter play is fine. I don't, in the offensive zone, that's what we do. We cycle, we dump, we chase it, we snowplow. That's what they do. But it's our end that's hurting us. And that shouldn't be with the type of game we play.
And in segue to that, I was going to bring up Ilya Sorokin to begin with, because you compound all those issues that the Islanders are currently going through, and then you have someone like Ilya Sorokin right now who's playing a European-style goalie, and he's reminding us of Jaro Halak.
Oh, yeah.
The pads are out, but the rebound, that juicy rebound is out there. He's not hugging the post like he's supposed to.
Right.
And when the puck is near him, he's kicking it out with this, he's using his stick to keep the puck moving, which is good and all if you have a team who can move the puck ahead for you like he did last year. He doesn't have that this year. Barry Trotz's system is boring.
Right. Slow the game down.
That's what they mean by discipline. When he wants more discipline, he wants something more boring. And what you're supposed to do for any goaltender, not just Sorokin at this point,
right? When
the puck comes near you and it's in the crease, don't hit it away. Glove it. Stop it. Stop all kinds of play, because you don't have the defense. You don't have the puck moving defenseman. That goalie becomes that defenseman. Stop the puck, and you have Nelson, Peugeot, or Zizekas win that faceoff, and now you're back to puck possession, which is something the Islanders have done nothing right so far this year. Right. Absolutely nothing right. So for me, Sorokin has to simplify his game. That's it.
I agree with you. And what I'm noticing about him, well, you brought him to my attention 4 years ago. Okay, that's when I started watching his highlights. And very athletic goaltender, very athletic.
Yes.
But that's what's hurting him now because he's relying on his athleticism to bail him out instead of his positioning. Okay, you make that first save and you grab that puck. You don't have to make that second or third save or leave a juicy rebound. I mean, the last 2 games, he gave up horrible goals because he's going down too early and he's pulling away from the top of the net, the top of the post. All right. I understand they like to use their heads to, their mass to take away the top part of the net. But
Sure.
what he's got to do, and everybody's going to hate me for this, he's got to watch Shesterkin's game. Shesterkin stops the puck every time he can. He slows the game down. That's what he has to do, and that's what he usually does. But for some reason, he's away from that game. He's reminding, like we said, he's reminding us of Halak, the way he's been playing. And getting beat up high.
Halak always got beat up high, but so is Sorokin right now. And with the lack of offense coming from the Islanders, you need to slow this game down. You need to make it more boring than it was, than it was before. And that's how the Islanders are going to win 2-1, 3-1. They're going to get that third goal with the empty net, but that's been Islander hockey. That's Barry Trotz's system. Slow, boring, but effective. But we haven't been able, the Islanders have not been able to do that this year.
It's slow. And, I don't know if it's because, you look at the defense, you look at Green, you look at Chara, they're a little slower. Maybe they're not getting to the puck quick enough for Sorokin, and he feels he has to move it. I don't know, but slow the game down. Play your game. Stay high in the net. He's a big kid. He doesn't have to crouch down. You're a big kid. You take up a lot of the net. Stand up. If you're gonna go down, keep your shoulders up. I mean, he's actually dropping his body. If you look at the goals he's given up, I mean, there's like a good 3 inches at the top of the net, and he's what, 6'2"? Sorokin. So he should fill the top of that net up easily.
Yep. Yeah, we're not saying he has to do anything spectacular. We're just asking him to simplify the game, simplify his position.
Yeah, slow it down.
That's it. Literally, the moment you get that puck, stop it, glove it,
and believe
stop
me,
all play.
The older defensemen will love you for it. You're slowing the game down for them. Chara doesn't want to be out there a minute and a half, 2 minutes in his own end, chasing all these young kids around. He doesn't want that. Slow the game down. Simple.
Leave the game in the hands of the centers. Let them win the faceoffs, and you go from there.
Agreed.
The transition game, we don't have enough time in the show to talk about. We know how bad it is. We know what the Islanders need. That's going to get fixed in the offseason. Speaking of which, give me your thoughts on Robin Salo so far. You think he's going to crack the lineup next year full time? What do you like about his game?
Robin Salo cracking the lineup depends on what happens with Hutton, in my eyes. Now, I don't know what you know, and I'm being honest with everybody. I don't know what you know about Bridgeport.
Gotcha.
So I'm just saying, from what I see and what I read, whatever happens with Salo depends on what happens with Hutton. Because I have a feeling if Hutton could crack the lineup, Salo is going to be expendable. If Hutton's moved, Hutton could be moved too, because I have a feeling that a lot of teams are going to ask the Islanders about his availability. So he might be one to go.
Yeah, and Hutton, I don't think Hutton is going to be a trade deadline move. I think he'd be at the draft, but I agree. Hutton is going to be. He's going to have some. I think Hutton's going to have a shot to crack the lineup next year. And that's why I think you have a player like Scott Mayfield out in the rumor boards right now.
Right.
So, again, we'll see what happens. I think Sebastian Aho, he could be traded. He's a 7th defenseman here. He could be a 6th defenseman somewhere else. He's got the speed. He's working on the transition. The size is killing him. you add 10 more pounds of muscle to his legs, that's a completely different story.
Right.
But, you put him on a team with Ottawa, Arizona, you could get something in return for him.
Just
So,
like Hickey. I mean, Hickey wasn't big, but you look at his numbers when he was with us. He was the steadiest defenseman out of all of them. He had the best
yes, he
plus
was.
minus. He was always, an even, a rock steady defenseman.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
size
but he
didn't
played the
matter.
system very well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
size didn't matter.
And he
So,
had some decent speed. He had some decent speed, and when he hit you, he hit you.
right.
Salo does have that, but Salo needs to work on his positioning in the NHL at this point, and I think it's a good start for Salo right now to just keep playing as many games as possible up until the trade deadline, because who knows? We'll see.
Let me ask you a question.
Go
Hutton,
ahead.
okay, who would you compare him to in the league right now? Hutton. Let's say at his peak, who would you compare him to?
Big body defenseman, mobile defenseman, Mayfield.
Not a bad comparison.
Mayfield. Yeah, no, Mayfield, a younger Mayfield. He's not out of position. I think he'd actually be a little bit faster than Mayfield.
Mhm.
I know Hutton's been paired with Bolduc
Right.
down in Bridgeport, and Bolduc is that second rounder who's also another project similar to Scott Mayfield when he was first down there. So there's a lot of
Right.
similarities. I think Hutton would be that bridge between Mayfield and Bolduc.
Okay.
So, but Grant Hutton,
That's a fair comparison. I mean, you can't go
yeah,
wrong.
no,
I wouldn't
and
mind
I
having
think
another Mayfield on the team.
Grant Hutton could get a 1-year show me deal, and would be a very very inexpensive compared to Scott Mayfield, who's in the last year of his contract. If he's looking for more money, that's the thing. But again, that goes back to our question: if Hutton were to come in and replace Mayfield, does that really take away the year that the Islanders have a shot at the Stanley Cup? Do you need someone like Mayfield in that depth?
You would, all right. If you're comparing Hutton to Mayfield, okay,
Sure.
then you got to go by the experience Mayfield had in the playoffs. That makes the difference if you're going to replace him. If you're going to replace him with Hutton, you got to say, all right, this kid's good, but when it gets real in the playoffs, is he going to be able to do what Mayfield did? Because Mayfield had some big assists and a couple of big goals and big hits.
Yeah.
Against Pittsburgh and Tampa. I mean, that's what you got to look at. Right now, I think Mayfield is untouchable unless Lou is thrown, and I've always said this, an offer he couldn't refuse to bring somebody in.
And I think you're going to have to go with Varlamov on that too, because I believe Varlamov has a partial no trade clause. Let me double check that real quick. Yeah, he's got a modified no trade clause, Semyon Varlamov. So I don't think he's going anywhere unless he's going to be the number one starter. And I think
he's
the
going to go to
Islanders would be
Vegas.
the only team.
I think he's going to Vegas. I'm telling you.
He could be going to Vegas.
I think he's going to Vegas. They need a goalie. And he wants a win. This season is going to scare a player like Varlamov. Is he going to say, all right, is it over? Like, is this the end of the run? You know what I mean? And I have a chance with Vegas to go there and win. That's what's going to be. That's what's going to be thrown at a lot of players, which teams are interested in on the Islanders. Do you want to go? Do you want to win? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, well, let's get into it. Let's get into the final segment here, which is water cooler talk. This is where we talk about the rumors. We talk, we take the questions. We listen to the conspiracy theories and whatnot. And it's already been out there.
The Yankees.
I know he's such a jerk. We'll deal with him later. Anyway, there were rumors of, Cal Clutterbuck and the Colorado Avalanche. There are rumors of Lou listening to offers for Palmieri and Bailey. Supposedly, Green and Chara are willing to go as depth players. I don't see Chara going as a depth player, but if Andy Green really wanted one more shot at the Stanley Cup, I could see Andy Green going to a team like Tampa Bay, blocking shots and doing a very small role there and winning a Stanley Cup with Tampa. Again, everyone's available, but James Nichols brought up, and he's part of the fourth period. He said that Lou is willing to listen to negotiations, for Palmieri and Bailey. We're here to actually say with confidence that the Calgary Flames are actually one of those teams interested in Josh Bailey. We can say that we are safe to say that. The Calgary Flames do actually have interest in Josh Bailey. So we are merely confirming what James has already said. With interest to Josh Bailey, we can confirm for you guys that the Calgary Flames are, in fact, one of those teams interested in Josh Bailey. So I'll give this to you, Joe. Do the Islanders trade Josh Bailey when he's so close to 1,000 games with one team, specifically the Islanders?
I think Lou asks Josh Bailey if he wants to go to a team that's interested in making a cup run and helping them out. I don't think he just trades him. I think he asks him. I think Bailey deserves that.
Right.
At this point.
And I believe it or not, I think every player on this team, because of what happened this season, is going to get asked.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
I think they're going to get asked because this was really a rough year for the Islanders altogether and all the players. Right. However, Josh Bailey, I don't think they're going to pay him $5 million a year to play on the fourth line. Oliver Wahlstrom is suddenly getting it together. And let's be honest, we need more than 3 goals if you're going to be on the top line with Matthew Barzal. This might be the time where, Josh finally, shrugs and say, okay, trade me. He may take that. Cal Clutterbuck, on the other hand, is in a different situation. He's 34 years old. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. Mm-hmm. A lot of teams know of his injury history,
right?
But they know what he can do in the playoffs. Cal Clutterbuck next season may only be offered a PTO. He may not get a contract. He may have to prove that he can still play.
True.
Okay.
I agree.
So I think it would be much easier for Cal to say, yes, trade me to whoever, if he knows he's got another run at a Stanley Cup. But Josh may not want to go. Josh may want to finish his career as an Islander. So I still think, and I agree with you, I think Lou is going to give the guys a chance or a choice, whether or not they want to go or not.
I agree with you.
And again, Lou already has under 14 million. It may go up to 15 million if the salary cap goes up another million, as long as that gets approval. But we're talking 15 million for next season. You're looking at 28 or 29 million the following season, and you've got enough to probably re-sign Barzal, Wahlstrom, Dobson, and Bellows. So Lou has some wiggle room now in the cap. And you do have a couple of young players who could be ready to take that next step. So I think for this year, because of what we said before, with that 4-year window, I think he's going to make this an option for a lot of the players. But guys like Green, guys like Chara, guys like Clutterbuck, they may just say, look, take me, trade me, because, this might be my last shot. I may not be getting another contract after this season.
Right. They're at the end of the line. Why not? It's a good move on their part. Try and get their name on the cup. But Clutterbuck, I love the guy, hard-nosed player, but I could see him working wonders with a team like Colorado. Make a move. If they're interested, go give it a shot. Get your name on the cup, because I just think Colorado is going to do damage. If they need a defenseman, but if they could go out and get, a couple of defensive forwards, they're going to be tough to beat, and I can see him fitting in well there.
No, absolutely. And again, Calgary Flames also, they're also looking for a defenseman, but if they can get themselves a defensive forward like Bailey, who can set someone else up like Johnny Gaudreau or Sean Monahan, good Lord.
Right.
I'll take Valimaki, please.
Let me tell you something. Look at Bailey's playoff numbers. The guy's pretty good in the playoffs. I mean, he's good. I mean, you can knock him during the regular season, but in the playoffs, he's steady.
Yeah,
he's steady. So you're not losing with him either if you get him. Because if he goes to Calgary or Pittsburgh or whoever else is interested in him, he's not going to hurt you. He's going to help you. Yeah. But I agree with you. I don't think he goes. I think he stays.
Yeah. I think he stays. And we'll say this. We can also say this with confidence right now, folks. Beware of the Pittsburgh Penguins calling the Islanders quite often. Clutterbuck, Parise, that I could see them going to Pittsburgh. In all honesty, Josh Bailey to Pittsburgh, setting up Sid Crosby or someone else, I could see that. That'd be nasty. I don't know if they'd be able to work it out with the cap, but I think Pittsburgh getting someone like Bailey would also help.
That gives them 2 full scoring lines. Because now they have a line and a third, or a line and 2/3. They don't have 2 full, You put them on a second line, forget it. Pittsburgh's an animal again.
Yeah, but let's talk about the returns here. Let's try to slowly connect the dots. Let's say everyone's right. Let's say Vegas, it's Colorado, Calgary. They're all calling the Islanders here. Everyone wants draft picks. Yeah, that's wonderful. But these are Stanley Cup potential teams here. We're looking at low draft picks, high draft picks. Okay. You're not going to get a first rounder here. You're definitely going to get a second, probably for Bailey or Varlamov. And I could honestly see Lou making hockey trades.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Players, prospects, and a pick.
Well, Lou, he's a stockpiler.
Yes, he is.
He likes to stockpile and then move the bits and pieces around. Okay, but it's like you said, now you're making deals with Stanley Cup contenders. You're not going to get, very, what do we say, low picks? You're not going to get very low picks.
You're going to get very low, high round picks.
Exactly. Yes. So that's the thing. But, you do get the diamond in the rough.
You do.
In those rounds. You don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, so, and I would like to make one thing clear. For those who do follow on the regular, I do cover the draft. The draft picks and the prospects that the Islanders currently have, they're not bad. They need time. Okay, the players that have been drafted, in 2019, 20, and last year, save for Aatu Ratu, they all need a solid 3 years.
Right.
Solid 3 years, minimum 3 years. Okay. But that's what the draft was presented. That's basically what the draft gave the Islanders. That's what the Islanders were presented with. Right. This is a draft where these kids, most of them in the first or second round, could be ready in a solid 2. So you're looking at a 2 or 3 year window here where you're going to see the prospects come up and possibly be ready. Again, Aatu Ratu is probably going to be that lone exception. I think he could be ready in 2 years. I hope to see him ready in 2 years. But that's why I had asked Joe about that window of Stanley Cup, that Stanley Cup window, that year 4, that year 5, because now in year 6, you're bringing in these prospects. You're bringing in from that the Islanders have already drafted. You're bringing in the prospects that you could be getting this year.
Right.
That's why, Seattle basically said everyone's up for sale. Seattle, when they were doing their expansion draft, not the expansion draft, but the actual NHL draft, they wanted to come into the league this year so that way they could draft all the players in this round,
Right.
in this coming year, because this is a year where you could really build a franchise around. So I understand the folks saying get as many picks as possible, but I wanted to explain why it was so important. And yes, you could replenish the system with prospects, with draft picks, but if Lou can get a couple of prospects that could fill in now with Bridgeport, along with a long-term draft pick, that would be the better scenario. And I don't know. I don't see Andy Green getting you that. Chara, I don't think that happens either.
That's not going to happen either.
Cal Clutterbuck, I think you get a 4th rounder for Cal Clutterbuck.
It's going to be Bailey or Varlamov that's going to get you.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, for me, am I looking forward to trade deadline? Of course I am. But, am I expecting much? No, I think the only big trade I think you could expect to see, maybe Varlamov. And that's if he waives his no trade clause.
Yeah.
That's
Lou, okay? He's gonna. You can't predict what he's gonna do. He might make. Come the draft, he might end up with Tarasenko, with Mayfield and Beauvillier going to St. Louis or something. You don't know with him. He
right.
makes. But like you said before, we were talking about that window, okay? And you said to me in a conversation, you said, look, the first or second year we're in Belmont, you say now we got those draft picks that have to be ready for the 5th and 6th year that we're in Belmont. That gets us to that 10-year window. But you also got to realize something. Wahlstrom, Bellows, all these kids have to be producing to keep that together.
To get there.
Exactly. So, it's you don't know what you're going to get. But nothing's guaranteed, especially in a draft. You could have the number 1 player be a bust. I mean, I always say the name Dave Chizowski. He was supposed to be the next coming of whoever, and he was horrible. So, but you just don't know what you're going to get.
So we're going to take your questions, comments, concerns here, guys. Come and hit us on this one. We'll show this one. Flames are interested in Mayfield. Yeah, there's a lot of teams interested in Mayfield, believe it or not. Why not? That's one thing we can definitely say, that the Flames are for real. They are buyers. They are still going all in. Tyler Toffoli was not their only move. Edmonton just picked up Evander Kane. Vegas essentially just got Jack Eichel playing now. The Flames, Tyler Toffoli, the Flames have got to do more. The Flames are in for a rough time, especially going up against Vegas. They're going to need more. So the Flames are definitely going to be one of those teams very active, and that's why they've been very active with the Islanders.
Flames have to toughen up against Vegas. It's not that series won't come down to talent. That series is going to come down to attrition. Which team is going to take more abuse?
Yep.
That's what it's going to come down to. That's going to be a very, very physical series if they match up together.
Yeah, and that's why I have, and that's why we've heard Pittsburgh mentioned around the Islanders as well. They get 2 guys like Clutterbuck or Parise or both, that strengthens Pittsburgh's chances against a team like Carolina who can beat you physically and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to seeing, what Carolina is going to do this season, but I'm not going to shy away from Washington or Pittsburgh to see, what they can offer us, in return for players like Parise and Clutterbuck, because they just add to the system, to their system.
Who would Washington be? What would they be looking to to strengthen? Would they be looking on defense or more of another, like a defensive forward?
What team?
Washington?
Washington, goaltending. Goaltending is still number one for them. I would probably go goaltending and then probably another defensive forward. Yeah, maybe one of each wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to go Chara back with Washington. I don't know if that would ever happen again.
Happening. I don't think that's happening.
Thomas is saying a 6th or 7th for Green and Chara. With Chara, you can go higher than the 6th or 7th for Chara. You can definitely get yourself a 4th or 5th rounder for Chara. Chara in the playoffs, Chara can be a 4th or 5th D-man somewhere. That's that's more than a 6th or 7th right there. So, any other questions, comments, rumors that you guys have heard? Any other trade rumors from any of the other teams that you guys want to bring up? Doesn't have to be the Islanders. Could be anybody you want. Not Chicago. Chicago's definitely going to be trading, but Chicago's going to be unloading first. That's first and foremost. I
tell you, that's the way things are lining up for the playoffs. You're going to have some. You're going to have a couple of upsets in the first round.
I hope so.
You're going to have a couple of upsets.
And that's what. Let's talk about that real quick. Let's say the upset of the year is, Chicago, Colorado losing in the first round again.
Then if
the Avalanche lose in the first round, the Islanders get their second round pick. That's a mid-level pick there, bud. That's a 15th pick. Or 16th pick. 16th or 17th pick. That's a lot better than picking 32 if they win the Stanley Cup?
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for right now.
Right.
I'm going to pick on Randy here. The Leafs don't have the space for anything. That's why they've been sending their players like Timothy Liljegren down to the minors, back and forth. They've been, making those trades with Dzingel, claimed on waivers. The Leafs are going to be making moves. The Leafs are going to be doing the same thing. They're going to be looking to get a little tougher as well. Don't count the Leafs out. I know we haven't really talked about them. But the Leafs are definitely going to be getting ready for that. Brian Cook, what teams do you think is the biggest threat to Tampa Bay in the East come playoff time? I got to say Florida. Florida's going to be the biggest threat right now. Out of the Metro, I still think it's Carolina, but you got to beat Washington. You got to beat Pittsburgh. The Rangers, I think the Rangers are that one team that has absolutely no pressure at all coming into the playoffs. I think it's what we like to call house money. I think the Rangers are just going to roll with whatever they've been doing, however they've been doing it. And that's that one team they could play spoilers, because I don't think a lot of people really have the Rangers doing anything this year past the first round. But for Tampa, I got to say Florida. Florida's going to be all set and ready to go.
I agree with you. I agree with that. Florida. And listen, I wouldn't want to play the Predators in the first round. That's a team.
No.
That's a team that scares me. They're quiet, just going about their business, getting to the playoffs, and then do damage. So whoever gets them in the first round, they're going to have problems.
You know who I really would like to see too? The Kings. The Kings have got their young kids.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's a team under no pressure whatsoever. I think the Kings could absolutely maybe upset the Flames, maybe upset Vegas, just for, just out of sheer will.
Well, if the
they're a team under
ended,
no pressure whatsoever, and I do think the Kings are going to be buyers. So
If the season ended today, they
nothing would
got Colorado, right? The Kings?
do they? I think so.
If it ended today, I believe they have Colorado. It's like you
Yeah.
said, they're going to have to be buyers if they want to get by Colorado.
Yeah, I think the Kings are buyers. I don't think the Edmonton Oilers are done. I think they're buyers as well. I think everyone out on that West Coast are buyers at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. So any other questions, comments, concerns, guys? This has been a fun show. Again, the rumors are out there. We are just confirming what James Nichols had said before. The Calgary Flames have, in fact, contacted the Islanders about Josh Bailey. I still think it'll be Bailey's decision on whether or not he wants to go. I don't think he's going to go. I think he's going to finish 1,000 game as an Islander. We'll see what happens. But, this has been a lot of fun. I still think, and I think Joe's going to agree, give it another 2 weeks of the vets playing. Normally, Lou likes to make moves earlier than the deadline, but that would be if he were a buyer at this point, which he's not. I don't think there's going to be a lot of moves, to be honest with you. We'll see. Again, I think it's going to depend on the players, but I would probably by March 14th, I would really like to see the kids in there as much as possible.
I agree.
And we'll do some closing thoughts here. Joe, give me your closing thoughts.
Take a deep breath. Enjoy the rest of the season, and wait till next season, because it's just this season was just a washout. I think I think he's going to make 1 or 2 moves at the deadline, but then I think you're going to see a major move at the draft.
Yes.
I think he brings in a big fish, and we know which one. We both agree it might be Tarasenko. I have a feeling Tarasenko's an Islander come next season. So he's got to get somebody.
Well. Yeah. No, I agree. And folks, this is the other thing you have to realize. The trade deadline is not so much about trading the players. It's about setting yourself up for the draft. It's setting yourself up for the off-season moves as well. That's why the general managers talk so much and so often. So, yes, Kyle Palmieri could be talked about. Yes, Josh Bailey could be talked about. Yes, Scott Mayfield could be talked about, but it may not be now. It could be at the draft. So, we'll see what happens. I agree with Joe. Take a deep breath. Yeah. Go to as many games as possible. Salute the identity line. Salute them every game from here on out. Give a standing ovation to Zdeno Chara every night.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I don't want to say your goodbyes, but this is one of those times where it's like, the ending is coming. Give them all a salute. So
yeah.
We want to thank you guys for coming on. Joe, I hope this is a regular occurrence. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you want me to come back, I'll come back.
There we go. That's the attitude.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Folks, you can follow Isles Talk on Facebook, on Twitter, also on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Not sure if we're going to have a show next week. Let's face it, the Islanders are out of the playoffs. They're going to be playing the youth. They're going to be on a very long road trip. You guys are smart enough to know what's going on. At this point, we'll play it by ear. If there's a topic you want us to talk about, let us know in the comment section or anywhere on Isles Talk. We'll come up with something for you, and we'll do a show then. But for now, we're going to do a show, play it by ear. We'll definitely go over the trade deadline. We do know Lou likes to make trades early, but we'll see what happens. But Thank you guys all for coming on. We hope the information we gave you was a little more insightful, and we'll see you guys pretty soon. So let's go Islanders. Take care. And
Forever.
until next time, salute those players.